It's a dinosaur.
In the book Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton figured out how to bring dinosaurs back to life in the 20th century, and he did it through science. And that's what really attracted me to the Jurassic Park movies. At the time, it was only one movie, but I wanted to do it in the correct way. And I didn't want to make a Godzilla movie. I wanted this to be a movie that was based on quantifiable science.
I remember very well the first time I saw Jurassic Park. I think it's the first time I was in front of a movie and I was aware that I was watching movie history. I knew that from that moment on, everything would be possible to put on the big screen, no matter how crazy that would be, in a realistic way.
So what do we do now?
When we were shooting Jurassic World, the fun thing to do on set was to talk about how this story could evolve.
This movie is not actually a sequel, it's part of a trilogy, so it's designed to be number 2 in the story of all 3 movies.
Action! We knew we were only going to get to be on an island with a theme park once, because you're going to break everything, you're going to destroy everything that it was. And so what would be the result of that? What would be the next step beyond it? In the original book of Jurassic Park, they talk about how it was a volcanic island, and so we zeroed in on this as being an opportunity.
We're literally blowing up the island so that we won't go back to the island. We needed to move on. We needed to expand, and that's what we're doing in this film.
I love how the film opens a grand spectacle and then becomes this kind of claustrophobic experiment in terror.
We wanted J.A. Bayona to direct this movie because he lives in a world of childhood nightmares.
If you look at the movies that he's done, and if you look at The Impossible, if you look at Monster Calls, even The Orphanage, they're all very suspenseful, on the edge of your seat kind of filmmaking.
Okay.
Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park was based upon real scientific theories. So these stories had to be grounded. You need to do them right. They need to feel 100% real.
He has a need to make the audience feel what he's feeling. So that's why Jay's movies always keep mixing genres. Nothing is black or white, and the complexity of the human beings is the interesting part of the story.
Yes. It's good to have a film professor as your director. J.A. shared with me that he was a film professor and he taught a class on Jurassic Park. There's something very, very poetic and cosmic about that.
Every camera movement for me should be designed very specifically, because for me that's the way I tell the story.
With J.A., it's not so much what is there, but what might be around the corner.
There's nothing in there. The tail.
Yeah.
Go back.
Jay's ambition was to really do something very unique, something that stands out by itself as a piece of beautiful filmmaking, but at the same time integrates in the story.
I did 3 movies in Europe, so I was able to show people this is what I do. And I was so fortunate that some of the people responsible of Fallen Kingdom saw those movies and thought I was the right guy to do the next one. And of course, I always wanted to work with Steven Spielberg.
They showed me the cut, and I saw it by myself, and I thought J.A. just knocked it out of the ballpark.
And for me, it was very special because I grew up watching these movies, and having Steven's approval was something very special.
It's awesome to be in a fight with 2 dudes who could definitely beat your ass in real life, but who are paid to lose to you. Here we are, Dancing with the Stars, choreographing our battle scene dance. Really hoping America calls in and votes us to be the #1 dance couple. This is more physical than the first movie for me. They've taken the action hero element that worked in the first movie and expanded on that. Oh yeah.
Welcome. We'd like to offer you a special treat.
The auction sequence begins as just this scary moment in which the dinosaurs that you've known and loved are going to be sold off.
Sold!
Which, of course, goes wrong, because when did holding a dinosaur auction in your house ever go right?
Trailers. Visita mi canal.
The Stygimoloch, it's like a funny dinosaur, so it's not scary.
From the very first moment, I realized the potential of the Stygimoloch. He breaks everything. I mean, he doesn't stop. There's a moment that you can see just people flying and flying.
So this is our one and only big fight on a Jurassic movie. So this is Chris coming in, seeing the Stygimoloch doing its rampage in here. The first thing he sees is one of the guards about to take out the Stiggy, so he sneaks up behind him. And then we're into this kind of big punch-up where he takes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys.
Hey, this is fun! Just because you have tattoos on your head doesn't mean you're a mercenary, okay? We're not mercenaryists.
Hopefully there's a sense of irreverence, but also it has the thread of an action movie going through it. Just so cool.
You get into a fight in a room with a load of dinosaurs, get to beat up a load of guys. It doesn't get any more action than that, does it? This is Jurassic pumped up.
Make it count. I don't know the official number. I think it's around 4,000. I think I just beat up 4,000 guys. I left my own path of destruction.
So guys, we're gonna shoot one.
Since the first movie, Jurassic World, came out, and just so blessed. It was such a big hit. The best part has been able to ask for really weird things in my contract. So every set, I have to have a wooden horse that I can play with in between takes. Really keeps my mind off things, keeps me in character.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, let's get Chris on his horse. Thank you.
Jay and Colin, they thought, let's go for the classic. Let's go to the rooftop. Let's make this almost Western-like confrontation at the very end.
To me, it felt the only way to really surprise people instead of trying to go bigger. Now we have 6 dinosaurs fighting. It just seems like the way to do it is to go smaller and more intense and just a little deeper.
It will be a bit like Hitchcock's Vertigo, but with a monster. So that should be pretty cool.
The rooftop sequence we were drawing in so many different versions before we had a set. Absolutely established. JA would want to see something, so then the set would have to change to be able to make this idea work.
You need to have everything very, very well prepared, but sometimes it could look like rigid if you get a stick too much to the previs or the boards. I think the shooting is something alive, and you have great people all the time around you. You have the actors, you have all the team, and you try to make it better.
I rehearsed for the big stunt, which is Maisie sliding down a massive glass roof. This morning, we practiced actually on the set, where Maisie's climbing along the roof and the Indoraptor smashes out of her window.
I'm gonna be really scared, and you're gonna be like, come on, Owen. Here we go.
And action!
Come on!
Just working with Izzy, who's earned the name The Kid Rock because she does all her own stunts.
Hello! It's quite fun.
Yeah, fun. You good? Yeah. This way!
We're on top of a roof, and there's rain, and harnesses, and dinosaurs, and lasers, and I mean, what more could you want?
A little wet, cold, and beat up, but still happy. Okay? Still happy.
You're doing that, so at least we'll be like bang, 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 bang.
So if it's banging, you just tell me when to stop.
Bang, 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 bang. You can imagine how complex it was to shoot the fight between Blue and the Indoraptor because it was such a small place.
Since you're up there, you can come back down into whatever piece you want of him smashing into the glass and the glass breaking. Yeah.
And you need to deal with all the visual effects and the action. But everyone was so prepared, so ready. Everything went perfect.
I'll watch this behind the scenes stuff, and I'll be like, Chris, take a breath and just shut your mouth for 2 seconds. But I can't. It's a compulsion. And then she laughs every time. It's so nice. It's so nice.
I'm so privileged to be the audience to your nonstop talking.
Aww. I've got one really long chest hair. I think we've established that. She's always on the hunt for it. Gross. There we go. That's how we get pumped up. Rocky, and then the Muppets.
I know, I just came down here because I was like, I hear the Muppets.
I think there's great chemistry between Bryce and Chris, but I think it's evolved to a point that now they can basically find a new way of relating to each other, which has just as much comedy as it does drama.
Chris was saying, let's just like feel it out, like
let it happen. Let it happen in the moment instead of predetermining it.
Yeah.
And she said, great, but she was faking it, and she had already predetermined exactly.
I know what I'm gonna do.
3, 2, 1, action!
For this movie, I remember being so excited that we were going to be doing another movie, but I was also like, what is it going to be? I'm just reading the new pages for the ending of the movie, and it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. And reading the script, you know, I was just worried the whole time that I was going to die. Seriously, the whole time I was like, oh gosh, she's going to die. Okay, she survived that time. All right. Oh no, she's going to die. Oh my gosh. Someone dies.
Bryce always wants to be so good at everything that she does, and you can tell. I mean, every take is getting better and better and better with her, you know? And you can ask her anything. You can ask Bryce absolutely everything, and she will give it to you.
What up, J.A.? Have you met J.A.?
And Chris all the time will give you new ideas, and from take to take, he will change everything, which I love.
So I'll do the thing where my foot gets touched by lava, and that's what motivates me to get the role.
Yeah. That's
and then maybe even a second time into the log, and it's like, oh, go, like, and I mean, it's like you got 10 seconds till you burn to death. It's just something kind of natural, like this.
Just like that. It's been so fun for us as, I was gonna say as kids, but we're not kids, but we feel like kids when we're on this movie set because we are getting to experience this thing that we admired when we were kids.
With Chris Pratt, I'd say like 6 really funny things right now.
And you haven't experienced fun until you've acted opposite Chris Pratt in a Jurassic movie.
In a Jurassic movie, it's so important the level of reality in recreating those dinosaurs. They need to feel 100% real. I think the secret behind the work that we did in Fallen Kingdom was to merge both technologies, to cheat the eye of the audience so there is a moment that they don't know if what they're watching is real or not.
We've taken J.A.'s vision for what he really wanted to bring to the franchise. He felt like the dinosaurs needed to be more individual. So we brought a lot more detail and markings and color into the dinosaurs to try and imbue a sense of character. They have a lot more personality than they did before.
We have a lot of ideas about how the original dinosaurs look. There are obviously contrasting and conflicting ideas, but we've got something very firm to base the designs on.
You have to look at the other films because they've established a way that these dinosaurs move. But at the same time, the technology we have now has enabled us to introduce muscle sims and skin simulations. So it's partially about being correct anatomically, but it's also about trying to get the right character into these animals and how they might react in different situations.
Shh. You're all right.
Blue is obviously an incredibly important aspect of the film. We learn a little bit more about how Owen raised her, and you can understand the emotional bond that they have now.
We looked at a lot of reference footage of baby ostriches and baby emus.
And then puppies especially, just trying to get that fun, inquisitive feeling when puppies are confused by something they haven't seen before and they'll really twist their head in that sort of cute, fun way. It was really trying to incorporate that into Baby Blue.
It was important to show that from the time that she's born, Owen is constantly recognizing that she's a special raptor that has a kinship to him as a human.
Yeah. And then I feel like that's the opportunity to get in camera.
Yeah.
We had a great relationship with Neil Scanlon and his animatronic team, who made some of the best animatronics I've ever seen. What has been fun in post-production is where JA's wanted the animatronic just to do something a little bit different. So with the Blue operation scene, we enhanced certain elements of the animatronic.
We might, for example, just replace the tail in one shot, or in another shot, we would just replace one of Blue's claws.
It was always quite enjoyable playing CG versus animatronic guessing game with JA.
Not even myself, when I was doing the reviews of visual effects, I knew what I was watching, if that was real or not. And that is the goal. When you create something that looks 100% real and you cannot tell if it's animatronic or CGI.
The Sinoceratops finds Owen unconscious in the jungle and almost out of a motherly instinct wants to save him.
This character, which I love, she's supposed to be very motherly, very kind, but tough at the same time. So she should have this tough look, but she should be like an old wise lady as well.
And there's this extreme close-up of the tongue coming out of the mouth and then licking the face. It's hard to watch that every day and dailies over and over and over again.
There was an onset tongue, quite large, quite gooey, and our effects team did an amazing job of bringing the tongue to life.
The Indoraptor, obviously, taking elements of dinosaurs we know were real, such as velociraptors, and dinosaurs that were already genetic, such as the Indominus Rex on the last film, and inventing a new dinosaur from scratch was incredibly exciting.
A lot of it came from early animation tests, seeing what looked scary, and then conversations with Jay about trying to find that personality for Indoraptor.
JA started to bring references from Nosferatu, very specifically the front teeth and the long claws are definitely referencing the Nosferatu character. And then the next step for designing the creature was the movement and what's he going to do that's slightly different to other dinosaurs.
I had found reference footage of a crocodile bellowing, and they'll vibrate their throats. And it was such a cool move and gave such a sense of presence to the animal.
Here's a few tests of the Indoraptor walking. And this just lets us test drive the asset under motion before we take it into shot production.
JA also introduced a very interesting concept, which is that this dinosaur is not a finished product. So there's all sorts of imperfections that were pretty exciting to bring to life. He has all sorts of facial tics.
It was an interesting challenge trying to figure out how to portray involuntary twitches and tics, where the head would sort of twitch in an odd, uncomfortable way, and the shoulders would twitch in sort of a strange way, and just creating this sort of uncomfortableness when you were watching the character on screen.
There's a shot in the film where Maisie and the Indoraptor's faces are sort of merged as one.
There's a symbiosis between the two, and that shot seals that concept. It was a JA concept for sure.
The Indoraptor fighting Blue was always very specifically in Maisie's bedroom.
JA had a very clear idea that he wanted it to feel like a real bar brawl.
And they just trashed this bedroom. So they filmed the room clean as it was and the room completely destroyed. And then our job primarily was about doing all the interaction between the dinosaurs and replacing it with the CG assets. So we ended up modeling just an enormous amount of assets, sofas, cushions, tons and tons of toys. We had a few Easter eggs, like we had a little ET toy. We did all sorts of bookshelves and dynamic books. We modeled just tons and tons of assets that all got destroyed.
it was decided that Blue really should come and save the day one last time. And the final moment with the Indoraptor and Blue falling through the roof has been always a very iconic, almost religious moment with beautiful moonlight behind and glass falling around them. And it felt appropriate, I think, as we prevised it, that this started to become a slow motion shot just to really hold on it. You really want to enjoy that moment of them falling.
Really beautiful, green. We're in Hawaii, what can go wrong?
What could go wrong?
I love this.
We're doing a pretty insane action sequence in the center of the film that starts at the bottom of the volcano inside in the bunker.
We enter into the bunker in Hawaii, and once we are in the bunker, we are in London. London, yeah.
Yeah. We're just so
That's
funny.
the movie.
I know, it's crazy.
Lava! Lava!
We are shooting a sequence where a baryonyx is chasing us. He has us in his sights, and there's lava everywhere.
Lava is basically a zeolite granules, which are an absorbent granule. It's the same as cat litter. It falls into the grate, especially there's water in these tanks underneath, and that extinguishes it as soon as it hits the water.
Things are heating up. It's getting a whole lot hotter.
And action!
We wanted to see a dinosaur in a box, and the people have to get out of the box before the dinosaur eats them. We wanted to really try and open it up and bring in a new set of real dinosaurs, and we have a baryonyx in this movie.
We have a full-scale baryonyx head that we're going to have on set and use that to perform with our actors on the day.
It's days like these, when a dinosaur attacks, you're just like, should have stayed home.
I told Franklin to get the chair, and there was this little obstacle he had to deal with.
This is when Franklin becomes a man.
Franklin and Claire, we get out of the hatch, and we narrowly escape the baryonyx.
And this is all lava. It's lava here, lava there, it's all on fire.
What a cool job this is.
And then we see Owen running and going like, run! And behind him is like a whole herd of dinosaurs. So we're running down the hill.
And they clocked it yesterday, and I run, granted this is downhill, 75 miles an hour. Pretty cool.
They have lava bomb explosions. This scene here is they're finished running down the hill. They run for safety, so they go behind the log. The dinosaurs run, they break the log in pieces.
And it seems absolutely hopeless until they realize that they can get into the gyrosphere.
What?
I didn't pee before I got strapped in.
Okay.
Now I really didn't pee.
You can also do it in the
I didn't hear that, and I'm not gonna let him pee. I'll get him a water bottle in about 15 minutes.
They now have a gyrosphere rolling down a hill.
The gyrosphere scene was one of the biggest challenges of the movie. You have one scene that has been shot in different continents. We have a first section in the island, but then the second half in UK at Pinewood.
Shooting piece by piece and stitching this thing together, it's like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle. It feels really exciting.
We're in the gyrosphere right now, and we're about to roll off the cliff. And so they've built a roller coaster
What the hell? It's so steep.
We're trying to get a zero-G moment of when the gyrosphere goes over the cliff.
In a roller coaster, there's like a build-up before the big drop. And this is just the worst part of the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's just the drop.
Oh my God.
To take Bryce and Justice and put them in 35 feet in the air and then have them go and be dropped down. It's the only way that you're going to get that performance on their faces.
We had to feel the claustrophobia of what was to be into the gyrosphere as the gyrosphere is sinking.
I got to learn how to scuba dive the other day. There's this really huge tank, I think it's 30 feet deep.
This is crazy.
One thing that I love in all the Jurassic Park films is a sequence of peril that really has nothing to do with dinosaurs. Once they get into that gyrosphere and they're sinking underwater, there's no dinosaur threat. They're just in serious danger.
I want to go home! It's a terrifying scene to not only see, but to act in, because we actually had to do that.
18, 19, 20.
It's just one big giant ride for us to experience, and it's all really fun, and you're gonna shoot it, and then that is what you see on the screen.
I'm here with Vivian Baker, makeup artist to the stars. I'm her very favorite actor she's ever worked with. We met doing, I guess, the first Jurassic?
Yeah.
Now we're here on the sequel. So you're applying mud, but it's a combination of dirts and bloods and muds. Why don't you just throw mud in my face?
Here, would you like for me to?
No. But the reason you don't just throw mud in someone's face is because you might shoot one tiny piece of this million-piece puzzle one day, and the other piece a month later. It's called continuity.
And dirt, I think, is the hardest. As he sweats, it breaks down in a really groovy way, so I like it to look real organic.
Yeah.
Very real.
Very real.
How did I get so lucky to be with you?
When we did the first Jurassic, you were so particular with my mustache. You trimmed it with scissors, and so we stuck together since then.
Yeah. We got a rhythm going.
We got a rhythm. We got to figure it out. This is Mary Mastros.
Hi.
She does hair. It's been particularly challenging working with my hair. It's sweaty.
He runs around a lot.
She has to throw mud in. I think there's some mud in the side. She's also had to dye my hair a couple of times because I've been in and out of a pool for all the water work, and there was a lot of chlorine in the
With a
pool.
lot of chlorine,
And
bleached
it
his
bleached
hair.
my hair blonde. But that's proprietary, secret knowledge.
no.
Don't tell anybody that. We've worked together since the first Jurassic.
First Jurassic.
Done now every movie since.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, would I be like an 8 or?
Oh, you
like
are a number. No. You are number one, Big Daddy.
wait.
I said you were number one. I just feel so blessed.
Chris Pratt here on the set of Jurassic World 2 with my friend Chris Murphy. He's a sound engineer. Right now he's putting a mic on me. You ever see one of those movies with mobsters and they go, "You wearing a wire? You think I'm wearing a wire?" Well, this is a wire. We're just rehearsing. After rehearsal, I need Chris to, my mic slipped off. It's called a lavalier mic. And oftentimes when you see actors flip out on set, it's because they forgot their lav mic was on. So, how long have you been in the business?
15 years.
15 years? Is there anything that you've worked on that people at home might know?
Harry Potter films.
Oh!
Fast and Furious.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Who do you think would win an arm wrestling match, Vin Diesel or the kid who plays Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe?
I think Hermione would probably...
Yeah, Hermione, yeah. And what's like your favorite movie?
Paths of Destruction. I mean, Chris Pine was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Path of Destruction is
You heard of it?
Chris Pratt. Not Chris Pine. My name's Chris Pratt. I'm here with Greg, Dean, and Mike, and they are in charge of this thing called the Edge. Action! You're going over big rocks, stumps, logs, bumps, things that are gonna make a camera bounce up and down, but this thing stays perfectly stable the entire time.
It's multiple gyros that are stabilizing the camera and the head itself while we're going. We can go uphill, downhill, off-road, on-road.
Yeah.
Chasing Chris around everywhere. This crane goes 26 feet long, and we can go over 100 miles an hour, no problem.
That sounds like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really taken over how we can work with talent, being able to get the camera right in there to increase the action and actually shoot it for real.
And they clocked it yesterday, and I run Granted, this is downhill, 75 miles an hour.
Well, you had a wind.
Yeah,
Look,
I
you
had
had
wind
like
on my
a
back.
seven
Wind on my
mile an
back.
hour wind.
Yes.
We did Fast 8.
Oh, yeah.
Fast 7, Fast 6.
We should remake Bullet, don't you think? You
I'm
shoot
in.
it, and I'll be
Come on.
Steve McQueen.
Excellent, Chris. Well done.
That's rehearsal done in the water for now. This is Pete, who's been helping me through this process. Pete, what do you do in the movies?
What we're just doing here, looking after yourself, making sure that you're all safe.
Have you worked in movies a lot?
Yeah, I'm 17 years in safety diving. I've done all the last 4 Bonds, Mission Impossible.
Okay.
Last 2 of them.
A couple of small little movies you may have heard of.
And The Mummy.
With Tom Cruise.
Tom again.
Now, ranking me against Tom Cruise as our underwater work. Like, how much better am I? Like, significantly better, or just like a ton better?
Oh, that's not my place.
That's good. Good answer, Pete. Good answer. Oh, man. When you do underwater work, you work with great crew and people like Pete, who for 17 years have been helping actors like me look like we know what we're doing underwater, which we don't. See, I almost fell off the platform just now. By the way, I'm treading water this whole time. I'm like a water polo player. I'm not standing on a platform just a few feet below the water. So here we are at some airport in the middle of England, I believe, right? I'm with Justice and Daniela. Do you remember the first time you saw Jurassic Park, the original?
Yes, we used to take family to road trips, and we would all like pile in the van and watch the Jurassic Park movies in order. Yeah, all my siblings would like try to like look away, and I was like, eat the guy, eat him.
Jurassic was one of the first VHSs that I had. You know the scene where the T-Rex breaks through the top window of the car? I wanted to be the girl. She was
You did a great job.
Also, Jeff Goldblum.
When you get to meet Jeff Goldblum, will you say anything to him?
I'll just
will
be
you
like,
play
sir,
cool?
I love you.
Shake. I saw it in the movie theater. I saw it twice opening weekend, and it was really kind of like my movie that really formed and shaped me. I was about maybe 13 years old when it came out.
That's awesome.
We gotta take you. Sorry, guys. Way more important. Oh, you making a movie? We're making behind the scenes. So.
Cover!
What do you think, Jody? Was that the martini?
That was martini.
Now Jody can have a martini.
I've got one in the trailer.
She's got one in the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. So this is Jody. Jody works as a PA.
Yeah.
She's a production assistant, which is a very instrumental part of the filmmaking process. What other movies have you worked on that maybe people at home might know?
The last Mission Impossible. Worked on a little rom-com called Man Up. That was one of my favourites with Simon Pegg and Lake Bell.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was cool.
Who would win in a fight, Simon Pegg or Tom Cruise?
Well, they're on the same side. So would they not work together to
Yeah, you're right.
defeat
Trick question. They'd both win.
And the world will win, yeah.
A lot of times when you're talking to someone like a Jody, in the middle of the conversation, they kind of start staring blankly like this because they're being spoken to on the radio, like a Secret Service agent right there. Is anyone talking in there right now?
No, but it looks like this.
Yeah.
Copy that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would like to introduce you
Hello.
to Kelly Krieg. She is part of the script supervising team. Explain your role on the film.
A script supervisor does everything script-wise, dealing with actors and director, eye lines, slates, cameras, paperwork, walking back and forth non-stop, dialogue changes, rewriting the script, but also post-production, effects numbers, camera department, getting detailed set up, a couple of horses and sheep, a big herd of our puppies. That's what I do. Das ist fantastisch, ja.
Anything else you wanted to say to some of our fans who are watching in Germany?
Oh, in Germany, yeah.
Aus Hawaii, wir grüßen euch, die deutsche Fans. Wir sehen uns im Kino. See, I need to brush up on my
See,
German.
we should have started this way earlier.
Well, we've still got 3 weeks left. I can learn a lot in 3 weeks. I learn all my lines in like 3 minutes before we shoot. Next time you see me, I'm going to basically be a German teacher.
Otherwise, I'll be ashamed of myself.
I don't smell very good, Kelly, but you're going to have to get some of that. Yo, what up, Jay? At some point, I want to do an interview.
Okay.
Will you do it?
Yes.
Tell me when you have time.
I think we are super late today. We are a little bit in a rush.
Sorry, can't do it. Been shut down again by the director. Since we're not going to do the interview now, like the official interview, you can just talk about how great I am. If you want.
Yes. Yes, he's great. Awesome. He's awesome.
Said just take it over there.
Yeah, he's great. He's awesome.
We don't have to just
And very good looking.
Chris Pratt right here. I'm here with J.A. Bayona, our film director.
What?
I'm here with J.A. Bayona, our film's director.
Hey, I'm Jay Bayona. I'm directing this movie, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom.
Louder!
Sorry!
The wind, it's because the wind needs to be louder.
It's the wind!
Yep. James,
that's it, yeah.
so you're a stunt guy.
That's right.
How long have you been doing stunts?
So doing stunts for 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
Anything that we might have seen you in, or any movies that you have participated in that people at home may know?
Yeah, we did a few of the Star Wars films with Rob Inch, the coordinator.
And what were some of your favorite movies growing up?
Jurassic Park, of course.
Nice.
I like creatures.
Oh, yeah.
So I love dinosaurs. Sort of tension up a little bit, Daryl.
Can we tension up some more, please? How many times did you do that? Four.
Yeah.
Good job. I think that was amazing. How are you feeling, like physically?
Yeah.
You're going to have some bumps and bruises tomorrow?
Maybe. That's part of the fun.
These guys are awesome. They never complain. I complain all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Nice job, man. That was good. That was awesome.
Ready to fly again?
Okay, you need to know something about Rochelle, who is a stunt woman extraordinaire. Well, go ahead.
double.
What's your name?
Rochelle.
And what do you do in this business?
I'm a stunt performer.
Slick. What are some things that you've worked on that people might have seen?
Maleficent.
Nice.
Fast and Furious.
Stunt
What else
performer?
did you used to do? I am Poe from the Teletubbies.
That's right. She's Poe from the Teletubbies.
Okay, that's just Poe now.
Isn't that crazy? That's really cool.
I'm Poe. Oh my god. It's freaky.
It's freaky. Did you watch the Teletubbies?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's just freakier when you see a person doing it and you're like, I know. It scares children, I'm aware. It scares my cat as well.
Does it? That's really cool. Thank you, Rochelle.
You're very welcome, Chris. So, this is the last shot of the movie. Chris, what's your job on this movie?
I am an actor.
Can you tell me some of the other movies that you've worked on in the past?
You may know me from Jurassic World.
Yep. For somebody who doesn't really know what an actor does, how would you describe what your job is and what are the most important elements of your job?
It really depends. Today, it is important for me to walk down a stream and turn my head a certain direction and squint my eyes.
3, 2, 1, action.
And other days, I might be running away from something, so it's very physical. It's only 20 yards, so I can't get to top speed. I'm probably only going 60, 65 miles an hour on that run. And then there are also moments of fear and a little bit of levity.
Chris, what was one of your favorite movies from childhood? One of the movies that made you kind of want to do this?
Anything with Jim Carrey and anything with Sylvester Stallone.
Your career is a combination of Jim Carrey's and Sylvester Stallone.
So guys, there is fire in the hole. We are firing blanks to make sure everyone has ear protection.
Oh, look what I found in my ears. Little chunks of potato. Am I speaking loudly right now? Yes. I got in earplugs because I'm about to shoot this gun at that dinosaur's face.
So once you have the gun, Chris, you can just put a little pre-frame here.
The first time I thought about Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, I thought about what was my first reaction watching the very first Jurassic Park.
Turn the light off!
And I remember the fear of being in front of a T-Rex. And the suspense of the kitchen scene with the velociraptors. And Colin was wanting to have a bigger sense of suspense in Fallen Kingdom.
The whole movie was building to a Monster in a House movie. And we had a vision of a little girl in her bed with the covers pulled up tight with the little kind of starry lights that your kids have in their bedroom.
When this idea of doing this like feral creature came, and make this the villain creature of the story, the monster, the first reference for J.A. was Dracula.
When I was a kid, one scene that provoked nightmares for months was Frank Langella playing Dracula in John Badham's version. And I remember Frank Langella crawling down and sneaking in through the window, upside down. From the moment I read that on the script, the interrupter is sneaking in through Macy's window, I thought it was the same idea, and I wanted to bring back that fear that I had. That scene is a homage to John Badham and that version of Dracula.
Action.
I love making movies.
He's crawling up the bed.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, if not my favorite. That simplicity of a scared little child and a vicious dinosaur in a tight, confined space, I think is incredible.
And we had that amazing fight that Blue has with the interrupter in Macy's room. Kids always play with dinosaurs, mostly in their bedrooms. So I thought, how cool would it be to bring that game to reality? So you turn the toys into real dinosaurs, and you turn that fantasy into a real dinosaur fight.
3, 2, 1, and...
Take for echo, take 3.
Mark.
We are in the basement of the Lockwood estate, and it's the lab. They've got the DNA samples over there, and then they've got skeleton-y stuff, X-ray things over there. It's scary.
In the basement of this house, Dr. Wu and John Hammond cloned the first baby elephant and then moved on to dinosaurs.
See this massive, grand lab, and then you turn around a corner and there's this very ominous, isolated cage that has the Indoraptor in it.
The Indoraptor, it's the perfect weapon, and it's the most dangerous dinosaur we've had in any other movie.
It's a dinosaur, but it's really a monster.
The Indoraptor is not a majestic creature. It's a homicidal maniac.
I was kind of scared because you turn around and it's like here on your face, and it's like full talons and everything, and so it's kind of scary.
This is the claw of the Indoraptor, and it's quite heavy.
Our role at the Indo is to take the initial design and develop it in the real world.
Clean bill of health. Ooh, there we go.
To take the Indoraptor and look at that as a further genetic experiment is a really exciting possibility. And the idea that this is not necessarily 100% successful. We're seeing degrading of skin or flaking of scales.
We're doing an insert head and neck and a hand and a leg, which have to interact with actors.
The Indoraptor is puppeteered by 4 or 5 puppeteers.
We have a guy on the jaw and a guy on the nostrils and lots of different parts of the eye.
We've got a beautiful movement around the outside of the eye, and we've also got a fully rotational eye here as well, a bit like a crocodile. Go. Down.
What I'm operating is the jaw mechanism here, so as I swing this lever forwards, we get the sort of full range of motion and then back to close.
When the mouth is closed, there's a fantastic pattern to those teeth.
So this rig was created specifically to provide something more of an eye line and something that you can actually perform on set so that the actors don't have to look at balls on sticks, and it also gives you the actual scale of the creature on set.
It's getting a great response from the actors because it gives them a chance to respond to something in the moment.
That is cool.
We worked with the effects supervisor from ILM to develop the little idiosyncrasies to provide a good basis for his animation.
If I was Dr. Henry Brew and I made the Indoraptor, I'd be very proud of myself.
I think that the more important is the bad guy, the better should be the scene where they die. And we enjoy a lot designing those deaths.
What we're doing now is a dinosaur is ripping my arm off and eating it. That's why I've got the green sleeve on. It makes the arm disappear. It looks like they can make it look like I have no arm. Kind of doing a switcheroo. We're using Ray's actual arm on the other side. We're doing a really basic sort of theater trick here.
Ted drops, but my arm remains in its mouth. And then obviously you can't see me, but you can see my arm. There's a reason for this.
Here we go. Action! And 3, 2, 1, fight!
One of the beautiful things about this is that they're using a lot of puppets, and these guys are brilliant, so the characters really live. It's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of puppetry.
What a good girl. Oh, she's a good girl. Yeah, she's a good girl.
You can tell by the performance of Ted Levine that when he's dying and he has the Indoraptor in front of him, you can tell that he had something real.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
Honestly, the best thing about this movie for me is the fact that Jeff Goldblum is in the film.
The best thing?
Well, maybe it's the dialogue from the first movie.
If I was given that dialogue, I think I could do the same thing. That's all I'm saying. Life finds a way. Did that do it for you?
No.
In the last century, we amassed a landmark technological power, and we've consistently proven ourselves incapable of handling that power.
One of the things the Jurassic movies have always been about is the theme of uncontrolled science. And the person who was the best analyst of that was Ian Malcolm.
He embodies the spirit of Michael Crichton. He's in the original book, and he is sort of the voice of reason.
We altered the course of natural history. This is a correction.
I'm really happy that Jeff Goldblum is back with us in a way that really brings science and ethics and morality together.
Here I am talking about dinosaurs again. It feels like I never left.
It was so exciting for everyone involved in the making of the movie and for everyone who loves Jurassic movies. And it was great to see him again after 20 years playing Ian Malcolm. From the very beginning, from the very first take, you can tell that he was Ian Malcolm again. That was something to see.
Are you suggesting that the Almighty is taking matters in his own hands?
Senator, with all due respect, God's not part of the equation. I like this character. And so I'm enjoying myself no end, you know. It's a precious little privilege. And I've only got a day here, but I've enjoyed myself. And J.A. has been fantastic at articulating the issues in the movie and maybe by my character of the misuse of science and bad ethics and all of that. We've convinced ourselves that sudden change is something that happens outside the normal order of things, like a car crash, or that's beyond our control.
A lot of the dialogue that he has in the Senate hearing is from Michael Crichton. It's from the book, Jurassic Park. And it's amazing how many ideas that apply to this movie are in the original book.
We don't conceive of sudden, radical, irrational change as woven into the very fabric of existence. Yet I can assure you it most assuredly is.
Jeff Goldblum, not gonna lie, that's pretty awesome.
So great to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, whoop! Just hanging out with Jeff Goldblum. No big deal.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
Cut that.